What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Cocktails in the War Room, episode 343, and happy St. Patrick's Day. I dug out literally the only green shirt I own, which is the Make Every Game a Home Game shirt that I got from Homes for Our Troops at the Bruins game. Literally the only green t-shirt that I have in my collection. So welcome to the War Room. Happy St. Patrick's Day. For anybody that's new to Cocktails in the War Room, my name is Mistress Carrie. I will be your host this evening. We started all of this 6 years ago on March 14th of 2020. We did Cocktails in the War Room live for the first time back then, riding out the pandemic together every night for 80 nights in a row before we turned the show into a weekly show like it is now, where we get together, the War Room family, the OGs, to talk about everything from music and the world and sports, to be a support group for each other when things go bad and to cheer each other on when things go good. And in case you're wondering what all the ruckus is about, my co-hosts, if you are not familiar, Wednesday and Friday, who you can find on Instagram at Wednesday the Goth Pug. And I like to turn the pug cam on so you guys can see the cuteness. What's up, Bish and Jonathan, Carol and Jessica, Sherry and Alexis, Donna, Emma is joining us. What's up, Ash and Mr. Cole? Mr. Voorhees is joining us. Emma, Sherry, Melissa is here. Got to say what's up to everybody that's watching on Twitch, that's watching on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube. And if you're new to the War Room, the OG War Room family that goes back 343 episodes, they have become quite the crew. And we like to welcome the newbies. So you got to let us know if it's your first time joining us here in the War Room, and where you're watching from in the comments so that we can welcome you properly. 6 years later, Keith still can't find his pants. Yes, Keith says, hey, fuckers. Kim says, hey, everybody. Hey, Carrie. Hey, Wednesday and Friday. Don LeBlanc saying, hey, Carrie and War Room family. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Tracy saying St. Patrick's Day. Happy St. Patrick's Day to everybody. Kevin and Betty are here. This is the third Tuesday I have been in the hospital, but the first two times here, there was no War Room. So glad you are here tonight. Tracy, are you, oh no, Betty, are you okay? What the hell is going on? Why are you spending so much time in the hospital? That is not okay. What's up, Lou and Donna? I almost forgot to open up the ginger beer over here. Hold on, I have to mix my cocktail for Cocktails in the War Room. I went festive tonight with the green bendy straw. And you can always tell what I'm drinking based on the glass. So copper mug, Moscow Mule, no green beer, no Guinness, no whiskey for me tonight. I have to party responsibly. So happy St. Patrick's Day. They say that Americans spend about $7 billion celebrating St. Patrick's Day in the United States. Over 31 million Americans claim heritage to Ireland, which is like 6 times the population of the actual Ireland. So it's kind of a big deal around here. 27 people got arrested in South Boston during the parade on Sunday. So yeah, there's that. Lisa says, hey, sorry, I'm late. Guinness says they sell about 13 million pints of Guinness on St. Patrick's Day, which is up about 819% over a normal Guinness drinking day. And I don't know if maybe I'm just a little overzealous, but I feel like 13 million pints of Guinness on St. Patrick's Day is low, because they say that's around the world. And I'm like, how are they not selling more than that just in Ireland? How are they not selling more than that the week of St. Patrick's Day in Boston? I don't know. That just seemed a little low. So Mr. Cole says New England boiled dinner today. Mixing Russia and Ireland, Carrie, a.k.a. fight will break out in the liver. Yeah, exactly. Hey, what is going on? Friday, is Wednesday hiding from you? Are you Are you not being nice to your sister? What is going on? Wednesday, come over here. Hey, Friday, come this way. Sit down. Sit down and I tried to find every green toy that the pugs have. I tried to find every alcohol related toy that the pugs have. Friday, leave your sister alone, will you? The turtle I thought was green, Gumby, the green dragon. I won't let them chew on my Kermit stuffed Muppets that I have in MCHQ. So Friday, what are you doing? Are you trying to pick a fight with your sister? Yeah, you are. I see you trying to nip at her Achilles. Don't do that. Don't be a mean girl. Nobody likes a mean dog. Just sit down nicely. Sit. Good girl. Good girl. Can I have your paw? Friday, can I have your paw, please? Hey, paw. Sit. Paw. Yeah, see, there you go. You guys know what you're doing. Yeah, sit down. Sit down. This is about, for the newbies, this is about the time that the show goes off the rails as the pugs take over the show a little bit. So Guinness is like drinking a loaf of bread. Well, that was the whole reason they invented it in the first place, Bish. You know, starvation and all, you need beer. So, yeah. Carol says, and I'm Italian, made corned beef and made corned beef crock potted today, and I'm Italian. That's the thing. My sister and I found out that as we were doing genealogy research during COVID, when my mom was sick, we were raised with the very dominant culture of my dad's Italian side of the family. We knew there was some Portuguese on that side, as I discussed in last week's podcast episode that we'll talk about in a minute. And then my mom's side of the family is like the English side of the family. And we discovered that actually my great-great-grandparents immigrated leaving from Cork, and that they only spoke Gaelic when they arrived here. My great-grandmother, who is the mother of my grandfather that fought in the Navy in World War II in Korea, she was very Irish. And her parents didn't speak English when they got here. And we didn't know how Irish that part of the family was because it was just, that side of the family was just always very American, like fried bologna, American chop suey, like ham on Easter, American. And so we didn't really realize how Irish that part of the family was. We didn't feel any pull to the Irish side of the family, like the corned beef and cabbage, the Guinness, the whiskey, like the boiled dinner, like all of that stuff. We didn't grow up liking any of that stuff because we had the dominant side of my dad's culture that was so prevalent, meaning the lasagna at Christmas and celebrating all the holidays because we were in an Italian bakery. So we really were not in touch with the Irish side at all. And it's a small percentage of our genealogy, but it does exist. So Friday, do you want to sit down with your sister so everybody can see your beautiful faces? Sit down. Sit. Good girls. Look at how pretty you both look. So nice that everybody can see you. Let's see. Checking in from Gardner, says Roger, a.k.a. G Vegas, watching Venezuela versus U.S. 0-0 bottom of the second. All right, keep us up to date if somebody scores. Write goal in the comments. Wearing a green Shinedown t-shirt. I am a bit Irish, says Betty. What's up, Travis? Spring is coming, he says. Yeah, actually, the snow, there's like one little part of the yard that has snow in it still, and it'll be gone by tomorrow, so I'm pretty excited. And I think I'm starting to see they're either the tulips I planted before winter or the garlic that I planted before winter starting to pop out of the ground, which I'm very excited about. So more on that later. Friday, where are you going? Betty says, your hair is looking good tonight. Thank you. I went and saw Linda late last week. So we got to say what's up to Linda. Heather says we celebrated St. Patrick's Day with Thin Mint Frosties today. Oh, hell yes. Gumby is going to get shredded. No, Gumby's pretty resilient. Here, do you want Gumby? Do you want to eat his head? Right, Wednesday? No, you just want to chill? Do you want to come here? Your sister's gone. You can just chill now. She's not going to attack you anymore. I don't know where she went. I think she's in the other room with Auntie Joan. So, by the way, we have birthdays in the family we need to talk to coming up in a bit when we do birthdays. Betty says, Alex is missing this pug action since I'm not home. Melissa says, the Fighting Irish are coming out on Friday. Does that mean you're coming to the hockey game? Let's see. Ben says, almost the 6-year anniversary of Cocktails in the War Room. Ben, it was last week. It was on the 14th. You missed it. Rubens for 2 days, says Mr. Cole. Ron on YouTube says, I really didn't have anything green to wear. And then I remembered the hand grenade from my Cocktails in the War Room t-shirt. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Nicely done. Jessica says, Wednesday and Friday says, give us treats. Yeah, I know. Wednesday's just chilling, right? Are you just chilling? Are you just chilling? Friday, what are you doing? Come over here. What are you doing? Are you causing trouble? Yes, I know you are. Do you want to come here and sit on my lap, or do you want to come over here and sit with your sister? Come here. All right, so do you want to sit down? Sit. There you go. Good girl, so everybody can see how pretty you are. Yeah. See? You can behave when you want to. It's just you don't want to, and we know that's what it is. We know that's what it is. I know. But you're doing so good right now. Bish says, what's better than roses on a piano, tulips on an organ? Bish, really? Really? Let's see. Melissa says, my grandson Jack turns 6 tomorrow. That is crazy. Friday, can I hit the button or no? Everybody can see your butt wiggling on one side with Wednesday, and the other side they can see your pretty face. What are you doing? Do you want to come sit on my lap? You want to come sit on my lap? You can sit on my lap. Go ahead. Sit down. Sit. We have a lot to talk about. Can you just sit? All right, I have to turn off the pug cam so that I can remind everybody about where they can hear me on the radio before we start talking about the podcast, because there's a lot to talk about tonight. So for anybody that's just joining us here in the War Room for the first time, and you're like, where the hell has Mistress Carrie been for the last 6 years? Well, you can hear me weekdays from 10 to 3 on Charleston's Best Rock in Charleston, South Carolina. Download the 98 Rock app. Go to my98rock.com. You can stream the station, download the podcast, do everything. You can hear me every weekday afternoon from 3 to 7 on 100 FM The Pike. Couple things going on with The Pike in the next couple of weeks. This Friday, it's Military Appreciation Night with the Worcester Railers at the DCU Center. Now, some people have been saying they've signed up for tickets and they have not gotten a message back to get their tickets. I posted on the Mistress Carrie Veterans Rock page. If you have tried to get free veterans or military tickets and you entered, but you have not gotten your tickets yet, I want you to go to mistresscarrie.com. Hit the button that says message the studio. Send me your full name, send me your email address and your phone number. I'm going to put an email together for everybody that is trying to get those tickets because they can get free tickets for being military or a veteran. And I'm going to send it to the DCU Center because I have gotten word that there are some people that have not heard back yet about getting their complimentary tickets. So that's this coming Friday. And then next Friday is the Woo Sox home opener at Polar Park in Worcester. Roger Clemens is going to be there, and he's going to be signing autographs in the Sherwood Diner. I'm going to be broadcasting live starting at 3. First pitch is at 4:05, so I'll be broadcasting live next Friday at Polar Park. Details on both of these, by the way, with the link to get tickets. These tickets are for sale. These tickets are for sale unless you're military or a veteran, and then you can get some for free. But the details on both of these are up on the concert and events calendar at mistresscarrie.com. Every weekday afternoon, you can hear me on 106.3 The Bone in Portland, Maine. You can download the Bone app or just go to 1063thebone.com to stream the station. And Mornings with Mistress Carrie can be heard every weekday morning on Laser 99.3 and 98.5. You can go to laser993.com, download the Laser app, or you can stream the station from there. So Bish says an oldie but a goodie joke. Was it a goodie joke though, Bish? Was it really? Jessica says Motorhead's Phil Campbell passed away at the age of 64. Definitely one of the things that I wanted to talk about. Geezer Butler sharing some stories. Tony Iommi sharing some stories. Dee Snider sharing some stories. Des Fafara from Coal Chamber sharing some stories. He passed away after a brief illness at the age of 64. Dee Snider saying that they had both spoken recently about their illnesses. Dee Snider saying, of course, he succumbed to his. Dee Snider recording some new music, saying just because I'm not healthy enough to tour doesn't mean I can't sing anymore. I can still sing. All right. Normally here, okay, Wednesday. Let me hit the button first. See a little head poking out in the corner there. Usually every Tuesday, we go through the bartending books here in the War Room to up our mixology game. Of course, today is St. Patrick's Day. So I did find a drink in one of these books that Melissa got me in Cleveland at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's a little tough to get these open to the page. Friday. I'm trying to open this book. Oh, okay. Are you scared of the book? What is going on? It's okay. Oh my goodness. This is called the Green Juice Cocktail. It is in the Stevie Wonder section, ironically enough, of the book. And the Green Juice Cocktail, it says this serves 4 ounces of gin or tequila, starting off strong. 2 cups of spinach, 2 cups of peeled and diced cucumber, 2 celery stalks, a half a teaspoon of grated ginger root, 3 sprigs of parsley, 2 green apples peeled, cored, and diced, and the juice of 1 lemon. This sounds like it's trying to be healthy, except you started off strong with 4 ounces of gin or tequila. It says juice the ingredients, except for the gin or tequila, together. Pour 2 ounces of gin or tequila into 2 rocks glasses and top off with the blended juice and serve. So this kind of sounds like it would be spectacular the morning after St. Patrick's Day because of the juice. So it's masquerading as something healthy, but it's going to be extremely green. So to recap, spinach, cucumber, celery, ginger root, parsley, and green apples juiced with gin or tequila and the juice of a lemon. And that is called the Green Juice Cocktail. I think that would actually be really good for a hangover. I'm just saying, the ginger would settle your stomach, all of those green leafy vegetables, all of the water coming from those. I don't know how it would taste, but I bet with the lemon juice and the apple, I think would sweeten it up a little bit. So obviously, if we're going to garnish, we like to garnish all of our drinks. I don't know if you would put salt with that. Definitely like an apple slice, like a green Granny Smith apple slice. Sherry says, no, thank you. Nope, says Donna. Venezuela up 1-0, bottom of the third, says Jason. What's up, Bill, on YouTube? Just give me the tequila, says Mark. The hangover you never see coming, says Bish. Exactly. More tequila is better for the hangover. Agreed. But the juice, oh my God, you guys have to see this. Friday does this all the time with Wednesday. She just likes to lick her ears. And I've checked Wednesday's ears. Like, there's nothing wrong with your ears. Her ears aren't dirty. This is how Friday kind of shows Wednesday that she loves her, which is what moms do to the puppies, is that they kind of groom their ears and lick their faces. And Friday does that to Wednesday all the time. And Wednesday doesn't hate it. She lets her do it. So obviously she's okay with it. Emma says, I love Don Julio's tequila. Heidi says, that sounds yummy. I don't know how it would taste either. I'm curious. See, look. It's pug love. They're so cute. When you guys want to be cute, you're really cute. The problem is, I think you don't want to behave and you don't want to be cute a lot of the time. But when you want to be cute, you're very cute, right? Yeah, you do love each other. You're not always fighting, right? Does your little sister take nice care of you Wednesday? Just say no to tequila drinks, says Mr. Voorhees. Sour green apple slice for garnish. Yeah, I think that would be, or you could even do like a little lemon sprig, or even just a slice of lemon floating on the top, I think would be good too. Melissa says Pearl does the same thing to Opal. Lick the ears? Yeah. Jessica says, oh, that's so cute. Heidi, I'm drinking root beer with kissed caramel vodka. Oh, Emma, that sounds delicious. Root beer with kissed caramel vodka. The only thing that could make that better, Emma, is a scoop of vanilla ice cream with some caramel drizzled on the top. I'm just saying. That would be delicious. You girls are being very good. Do you want to just take a little nap on the couch? Huh? Because you're being so nice with your little pug faces. Huh? Good girls. Let's see. That sounds delicious, says Jessica. Yeah, Betty says that sounds interesting. I think it sounds delicious too. All right, so that's your cocktail recipe. Let's recap last week's podcast episode. Nuno Betancourt from Extreme. It took him 5 years to get him back on the show. He's been a little busy as of late, but we got him back on the show. Episode 301 of the Mistress Carrie podcast came out last week, and Nuno, he and I were messaging back and forth trying to figure out what day was going to make the most sense. I was trying to get him to be episode 300, but he was so busy and our schedules didn't work out. I was like, no big deal. You can be 301. We'll make it work. And we were messaging back and forth, and he messages me and he was like, how late can you do the interview tonight? And I was like, Nuno, I work late. He's in California, so obviously it's 3 hours earlier. I said, Nuno, I work until like 3 or 4 in the morning a lot of time, like here in the studio where I could actually like dedicate the recording time to do the interview. So let me know what works for you. I'll make the time. You guys know back in the day, I had Jonathan Davis on the podcast, and we did the interview at 3 o'clock in the morning, and because it was midnight for him, and he signed on to Zoom, and I was sitting there in like feety pajamas, and he was like, Carrie, what the hell are you doing? And I was like, dude, you said this is when you were available. It's 3 o'clock in the morning here. I'm wearing my pajamas for you. And he was like, if I had known this was going to be for you, like I would have bumped it earlier for you. I feel bad. And I was like, are you comfortable? Are you good? Because if you're good, let's just do it. So I told Nuno, like, I can do it whenever. So we ended up starting the interview at 1:30 in the morning on the East Coast. By the time we finish, it was 3:30 in the morning on the East Coast. And he was like, you're insane. But that's when we did the interview. So there you go. It's 2 hours long. And we don't get to do a lot of long interviews anymore. During COVID, it was a lot easier because everybody was bored and had nothing to do. Now everybody's busy. But it was late at night. He was home. He was just chilling. So we just ended up talking. Once again, good luck counting all of the swears. Somebody actually commented on the episode on YouTube, Nuno swears too much. And I was like, masshole's doing masshole shit. Like, like Nuno might live in LA, in Hollywood, but he's a Massachusetts guy. He may have been born in the Azores, but he was raised in Hudson, Massachusetts. And the swearing is a Massachusetts thing. So it's just what he does. So this is not an episode to listen to with the little kids. That is for sure. It would be near impossible for me to try and release an edited version of this episode because he swears a lot. And just finding clips of the interview to play on my various radio shows, I have to then go in and edit those for the air. And I'm like, freaking Nuno, like he swears a lot. Jessica says he is so cute. Yeah, he trust me. Everybody knows Nuno's good looking. The guy, you'd be hard pressed to find a goddamn shirt for him because he doesn't like wearing them all that often. Eric says, sorry guys, just got home from getting a Gothic Roman Catholic cross tattoo that's Aussie themed with dark blue and purple. Also, I am moving tomorrow. Well, Eric, we need pics of the tattoo when it heals, and also moving sucks. Ugh, terrible. When do you wake up if you're working past 3 a.m.? Well, it depends on the day. If I work past 3 a.m., I just kind of stay up and like muddle through. And then I nap like in between radio shows if I can, or I nap when I get off the air. That's why Tuesdays for the War Room, it's weird because a lot of time I'm napping now. So that, yeah, my sleep schedule is different all the time. The pugs love it because they just like to sleep. So anytime I'm like, okay, we're going to go get 3 hours of sleep, and naps are really good. I take a lot of naps, which I enjoy thoroughly. So, Mark says, how many fucks can you fit in one sentence? Nuno, challenge accepted. I would tell you he can fit a lot of fucks in one sentence. Carol says he's 60. I know. Trust me. Emma says, safe travels with moving. I'll be moving myself soon. Mr. Cole says, I'd like to see Nuno at the Hudson Portuguese Club with Sully. Well, Nuno, like the Betancourt family does their Thanksgiving, like big show at the Portuguese Club every year. Didn't Sully show up last year? Because they did 2 shows. So I think I think Sully showed up. By the way, one of the things we talked about is Billy Morrison, who did the Morrison Project and had Ozzy, the Crack Cocaine, Gods of Rock and Roll collaborative album that Billy Morrison released a couple years ago. He's releasing another one later this year. The first single comes out next Friday, and it features Nuno and Sully on it, which we talked about in this episode of the podcast. But we talked about a lot of stuff. We can't talk about all of it here on the show because the episode was 2 hours long. But I really wanted to focus on the behind the scenes stuff of the Back to the Beginning, Black Sabbath and Ozzy final show, because Nuno was all over that show. And it was something that I wanted to talk to Nuno about because most artists did like 2 or 3 songs. Tom Morello was the musical director, so he was up there quite a bit. But Nuno got asked to kind of fill in and do a lot of those iconic guitar solos from a lot of Ozzy's solo work. And Nuno is kind of that guy that you call. Joe Satriani said it in an interview last week when he was talking about why that Joe Satriani, David Lee Roth, Alex Van Halen, like Eddie Van Halen tribute tour never ended up working. Joe Satriani said, I'm not the guy to go out and pay tribute to Eddie Van Halen. Call Nuno for that. Nuno's the guy for that. And that Joe Satriani interview came out after I had already recorded with Nuno, which I was really bummed out about because I would have asked him about it. Mr. Voorhees says, damn, he's even older than I am. Well, yeah, I mean, Extreme, like those big albums, like they came out in the late 80s and early 90s. So yeah, I have the concert shirt from when Extreme played at my high school in 1987 when they were just a really big local band. So they've been a band for a long time. So yeah, the fact that he's 60, that tracks. Bish says, I'm 40. I hope I look that good as Nuno when I'm 60. He'll tell you it's the fact that he's Azorian Portuguese and that it's good genes. But he also lives in California and he's a rock star and he has access to, all of the things that can make him look good, which is, the nutritionist, and he exercises all the time. He's a healthy guy. All the guys in Extreme are really healthy guys. Gary Sharon, same thing. If you go and see those guys live, Pat Badger as well, and Fig as well, playing the drums, like those guys take care of themselves because, as he said in the interview, Extreme has always been like a touring band, and they're really aware that they're going to get judged based on their live performances. And so they want to be able to deliver. And especially with Gary, not only his singing ability, but he's always been known as a dynamic frontman that moves around everywhere. And Nuno, just like we just said, like he's arguably the greatest living guitar player right now. And if he's not the greatest living guitar player, he's in the conversation and in the top 5. And so when people see him play live, which is what we talked about with the Back to the Beginning show, there's expectations. He was like, if I didn't do the work, if I didn't pull off those songs, people would have seen that show and said, Nuno's overrated. He's not the guy everybody says he is because he was on the world stage and he biffed it. And he didn't biff it. He was amazing. Won a Grammy for his performance of Changes with Youngblood. I thought the conversation about how the arrangement was different for that up until like a day or two before that show was really interesting. And just talking about the craziness of pulling a show like that off with multiple celebrities and jams and just technically what a hornet's nest it was. And if you watch the live stream, hearing Nuno talk about how hard he was on himself for missed notes during the performance that no one else picked up but him shows you what a perfectionist he is. Saying that in between his performances, he was backstage in his trailer punching walls, angry at himself because he felt that he could have done a better job. And he did an amazing job. So, but giving him a compliment is like pulling teeth, which I tried to do in the episode as well. He also spent a lot of time talking about what we can expect from this upcoming Extreme album because they got so much press off of the last record and Nuno's amazing solos that went viral that he's very aware that the band really has an opportunity with this upcoming new record to be able to have a second kind of height of their career, like a rebirth of their career in a whole new way, introducing them to a whole new generation of fans, not because of More Than Words and Wholehearted and Flight of the Wounded Bumblebee and all of that stuff and Cupid's Dead and all of that, but because younger guitar players are learning who Nuno is because of these new solos that he's doing. So no word yet on when the new album is coming out, but they are touring with Tesla and Motley Crue this summer, including August 1st at the Xfinity Center in Mansfield, Mass. And the link to that show to get tickets is on the concert calendar at mistresscarrie.com. Aileen says Gary is part Mexican jumping bean on stage. Yeah, he's always been that way. And that's why Nuno said people had a really hard time kind of figuring out what kind of a band Extreme was. Gary's a very theatrical lead singer because they were very heavily influenced by Queen. They were very heavily influenced by the harmonies of Queen and the harmonies of Van Halen. And obviously Edward Van Halen, as Nuno calls him, heavily influenced his guitar playing, but then they got famous because of their acoustic songs like Wholehearted and More Than Words. And so when you would go and see them, they were funk, they were hard rock, they were acoustic. Bands had a hard time kind of defining what Extreme was. And because they hit at the tail end of the hair metal era, people kind of pigeoned Extreme into that, but then they were not like, nobody thinks that Van Halen is a hair band. So they kind of were this band like Tesla, like the Black Crowes that kind of came out at the tail end of the hair band era. but people didn't really know what to do with them. And when you can't easily put a label on something, people don't know what to do with it. They don't know what section of the record store the album should have been in. They don't know where Extreme should have been touring and with who. And so sometimes you miss opportunities when you're not easily put into a category, which is something that I think Extreme was a victim of. And so seeing what they're doing now and being able to go out on the road and play not only headlining shows, but to also go out on these big giant packages like Def Leppard this summer in Europe, Motley Crue in North America. And with all of this new music, it is a rebirth for Extreme. And so Nuno has to take care of himself because his fingers have to be able to back up what he wrote and played when he was in his late teens and early 20s and to be able to keep up with all of the stuff that he's doing now. So the bar is high for Nuno, but he knows it. And he works really hard to be able to meet those expectations. What that pressure is like on his shoulders, I can't even imagine, which is what we talked about in the episode. So there is no profanity anonymous, Kevin says. Yeah, exactly. Like he needs profanity anonymous. All right, so that was last week's podcast episode. A brand new episode of the Mistress Carrie podcast coming out tomorrow. Taylor Momsen from The Pretty Reckless returns to the show. Last week's episode was 2 hours long. This one's barely 20 minutes long because I got a chance to talk to Taylor Momsen the day the new single came out, the day the announcement about the new album came out, the day that the tour got announced. It all happened on Friday afternoon, and I got a chance to talk to her. She called me on Friday to talk about everything. So episode 302 of the Mistress Carrie podcast comes out tomorrow. We talked about the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. We talked about continuing to tour with AC/DC while working on the new album. We talked about her excitement of being able to go and headline shows, Pretty Reckless shows, of which there are going to be 2 this fall at the House of Blues and the Hampton Beach Casino Ballroom. So I'm glad that she came back on the show. It's a shorter episode because, as you can imagine, with all of those press releases going out on Friday, she was really busy, but I was psyched that she made time for me. So a brand new episode of the podcast with Taylor Momsen from The Pretty Reckless comes out tomorrow. Lou says Extreme is hard rock. End of story. Voorhees says, Carrie, gotta move the icon for the podcast to the right video. It obscures the Mistress Carrie sticker on your microphone. Oh, I know it does. I put it there because a lot of the screens that people were watching on their phone, this isn't a sticker, by the way. This is like an actual, it's called a mic flag. It's like the things that the reporters have on their microphones, but it's custom made with all of the logos on it. So it just kind of pops on the microphones. I have them in MCHQ as well. But yeah, I know the War Room logo got put there because some people watch it on their phone on Instagram and the aspect ratio of their screen goes like this, whereas on Facebook and on YouTube and I believe on Twitch, the aspect ratio goes like this. So I'm trying to make everybody happy. All right, episode 302 of the Mistress Carrie podcast with Taylor Momsen goes live at midnight tonight. A reminder that if you subscribe to the podcast, not only do you get the weekly episodes. Hi, girls. You decided to come back. You get the weekly episodes every Wednesday, but then also you get the Sit Rep Monday through Friday, rock news, music headlines, entertainment updates. It's about 5 minutes long. What are you doing? Did you come back? Because you think I'm going to open mail soon? You're very warm. Were you sitting in front of the wood stove? You're so toasty warm Friday. Oh, look at your eyes. They get so sleepy when I pet your head. Oh. Are you warm too, Wednesday? Yeah, you are. Were you sitting in front of the fire too? Yeah. You guys decided to come back and hang out with Mommy. You're sitting very nicely. Oh, you got a hair on your little gorilla nose. Let me get that off of there. Yuck. Good girls. Sitting so nicely. Mr. Cole said, House of Blues. Yeah, September 24th at the House of Blues. September 22nd, The Pretty Reckless is going to be at the Hampton Beach Casino Ballroom. Those tickets go on sale this Friday, by the way. It's something about the width, says Jonathan. Eric says, I don't have to pay my buddy's dad works in the industry, and I made a video of my little bro singing a song of Gaga's at this talent show. I'm assuming you're talking about getting help moving. So that's the way to do it. Sadly, no, they are coming back to smack Fort Wayne, Indiana in the teeth. Emma, are you talking about the Pretty Reckless or are you talking about AC/DC? Let's see. Instagram makes you full screen. I get to see your big, beautiful head, says Lou. Instagram is full screen this way? Like what does Instagram look like with the split screen? With the dogs and with me? Like, can you see Wednesday right now and me? What? Do you got a bone Friday? Did you bring a Chewy up here so you can chew on that and not something bad? Very good. Let's see. If Instagram makes it full screen, then I can move those logos around again, which would be great. All right. So, podcast, the outlets that you can subscribe to the Mistress Carrie podcast on, all the big ones, of course, like Apple and Spotify and Pandora and iHeart. You can listen to all the episodes on YouTube. It's part of the Pantheon Podcast Network, and you can just go to mistresscarrie.com and listen to all of the episodes there as well. Podcast locations, 149 countries, and we're waiting for 150. I swear, I check every week. One day, we're going to get 150. It's just not this week. If you're celebrating your birthday today, you're sharing your birthday with Hosier, also Justin Hawkins from The Darkness, Melissa Oftemauer from Hole and the Smashing Pumpkins, and Billy Corgan from the Smashing Pumpkins, Van Connor from Dinosaur Jr., and Scott Gorham from Thin Lizzy, ironically one of the biggest bands from Ireland. So if today's your birthday, happy birthday, happy unbirthday, Keith and Slancha. Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody. Ralph says, please pray for me tomorrow. I'm starting my 8th Guinness draft pint with Jameson Chasers. Ralph, do you have to work tomorrow, Ralph? Because you're making very poor life decisions right now. I applaud you because I wouldn't be able to get out of bed. So, like, you're my spirit animal right now. But I'm just saying that I don't think you're going to work tomorrow, Ralph, if you didn't take the day off. Brutal. Lou says, just you is vertical. Okay. Mistress Carrie Guar. Oh, wait, what am I saying? Bish, Carrie, did Taylor bring you up to date on how she was asked last minute to play with AC/DC? Yeah, she basically said the AC/DC guys know that when they need her to call, and she'll never say no to them. So she's like, I'll drop everything every time they call, which is why it's taken so long for this new Pretty Reckless album to come out, because AC/DC kept calling and she kept saying yes. Donna says, Godspeed, Ralph. Kim says, happy birthday. Oh, by the way, Annie Joan and Annie Jean. I have twin aunts. Annie Joan that joins us here in the war room. She has a twin sister. Their birthday is tomorrow. So cheers to my twin aunts tomorrow as well. So Keith says, that's what I have for breakfast. Let's see. Whose family birthday are we celebrating? Oh, it's my family birthday. The twin aunts are celebrating their birthday tomorrow. Ralph says I'm off tomorrow. Ralph, you're my hero, man. Nobody needs to pray for you. It's St. Patrick's Day and you get the day off tomorrow. Hit it hard. Full send, Ralph. Full send. Just please don't drive anywhere. Stay put where you are. Split screen is horizontal, says Lou. Can you see both of us or are our heads cut off because it's horizontal? Just curious. Happy birthday to the aunties, says Jonathan. Thank you very much. All right, some music headlines we got to talk about, because there's a lot going on with music. Vinyl sales in the United States in 2025 for the first time since 1983 topped $1 billion last year. And It's due to Taylor Swift. She sold 1.6 million vinyl albums last year. Never mind the CDs, never mind the digital downloads, never mind the streaming. She sold 1.6 million vinyl records last year. There is a Red Hot Chili Peppers documentary that's premiering on Netflix this Friday that goes into the early days of the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Sit-down interviews with Flea, Anthony Kiedis, and with John Frusciante, because he took over for Hillel Slovak and the Red Hot Chili Peppers when Hillel Slovak died. And he is the focus of the documentary because it was Anthony, Flea, and Hillel that were childhood friends in school who started the Red Hot Chili Peppers together. So that documentary premieres on Netflix this Friday. Live Nation and the Department of Justice, they have settled. There are a bunch of concessions. There are a lot of people that are saying that the Department of Justice caved because there were campaign donations that were given by Ticketmaster and Live Nation to the Trump campaign, and that the concessions don't go far enough. There was plenty of evidence that they were price gouging, but in Live Nation only venues. There were a bunch of concessions that got made, but there are a lot of critics that say that they did not go far enough. And one of the people that was going after the monopoly, if you will, of Live Nation and Ticketmaster was Kid Rock, who has been very quiet as of late, because not only did he book his tour through Live Nation with Ticketmaster with affordable tickets as part of it, but his relationship with the president, and he's been very quiet because there are a lot of musicians that are saying, if you're going to champion keeping prices down for tickets and making it better for fans and artists, then you should still be upset at the cushy deal that the Department of Justice gave to Live Nation, because originally they were trying to break up Live Nation and Ticketmaster and the venues because they were saying it's a monopoly, and the Department of Justice dropped the lawsuit. So there's a lot going on with this. And at the end of the day, we're the end user, right? We're like, I didn't see anything in the settlement about the percentage that Live Nation and the buildings take of bands' merchandise that gets sold. You want to know why t-shirts are $50 and $60? It's because bands are paying, like, I think it's different for everybody. It's part of their negotiating deal, but anywhere from like 15 to like 25% of the money bands make at a show from selling their merch gets paid back to Live Nation, gets paid back to the venue. So I didn't see anything about that. But at the end of the day, this affects us, because the harder you make it for bands to tour in non-Live Nation venues, the harder that you make it for the fees. That means the prices on the tickets are going up. And when bands try to keep the tickets low, one of the things that they're doing is that dynamic pricing by releasing like the really good seats for way more money. Like Kid Rock, the front row of his shows is $5,000 a seat, because he's making up the money that way to make the cheaper seats in the back more affordable for fans that don't have that kind of money. So there's a lot going on with this to keep your eyes on, because I don't think we've heard the end of this at all. Speaking of rock documentaries, Iron Maiden's documentary is coming out on May 7th with a limited run in theaters before it hits digital streaming platforms. And congratulations to James Hetfield, who got engaged on Friday the 13th, scuba diving with his now fiance with sharks. Like, who says romance is dead? I also wanted to make sure you guys knew that fan voting for the class of 2026 for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is still open at rockhall.com. Right before the show, I took this screen grab to show you that more than 5.2 million votes have already been cast. Up until recently, Phil Collins was leading the fan vote, but as you can see, he's now in second place. New Edition is leading the fan vote, and a lot of the rock bands like the Black Crowes, Joy Division, New Order, Oasis, Iron Maiden are down towards the bottom of the voting. Billy Idol still in the top segment. That's why that's in yellow, because those bands get a little bit of a leg up from the fan voting. And Phil Collins, obviously, with In Excess up there in the top 7 as well. So Bish says politicians being paid off. Wait, hold on. Let me rewind the politicians being paid off for personal interest. Here's my shocked face. Exactly. Mr. Voorhees says exploitation never happens in the music business. Never, ever, ever. Yeah, but when the Department of Justice files lawsuits on behalf of 40 states, by the way, one of those states was Massachusetts. And so if the DOJ is going to drop the lawsuit on behalf of the 40 states, one would hope that the concessions were benefiting the 40 states that were represented in the DOJ's lawsuit. And I'm just asking, are the concessions enough? That is yet to be seen, I think. We'll see if concert ticket prices go down. We shall see. Jason says, howdy, Mistress Carrie. How's everything? Howdy to the pugs. Love y'all, says Jason. Well, they're right here. The pugs are right here, just chilling. Emma says, my ACAL show, I was just handed my ticket. Guar show, I spent $75. Yeah, it all depends on the show. It all depends on the time of year. It depends on the weather. It depends on the day of the week. It depends on the opening bands. It depends on how many shows. You guys will see tours will come through New England, and they'll play in Maine. They'll play in New Hampshire. They'll play in Mass. They'll play in Connecticut. And then other places, they'll only play the Xfinity Center, and they'll do one show in all of New England. It all depends on the band. It depends on how many shows they're willing to play. It just depends. So there you go. That's all of the music headlines. Some of those tours, by the way, Springsteen at the Garden on the 24th, Weird Al at the Garden, Iron Maiden, Rush, and Gorillaz. All of those shows up on the concert calendar. The DCU Center has got Bring Me the Horizon and Journey and Silver Scream Con with Ice Nine Kills coming up in October. Big Night Live in Boston has got Our Lady Peace and the Verve Pipe. The Xfinity Center has got tons of shows coming for the spring and summer and into the fall. The Black Crowes and Whiskey Myers, Evanescence. By the way, I have Evanescence to give away on the Pike this week. Sammy Hagar, Hardy, Godsmack and Dorothy with Stone Temple Pilots, Train, Chicago and Styx, Five Finger Death Punch, Motley Crue, Tesla and Extreme, Avenged Sevenfold and Good Charlotte, Leonard Skinner and Foreigner, Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson, and Stained and Seether. Also, a bunch of shows just all over New England. There's shows at Foxwoods like Cheap Trick, shows at the Wang like Pussifer, shows at Mohegan like Lamb of God. Down in Hartford, Post Malone and Jelly Roll are playing down there. Motionless in White at the Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion and the Hartford Healthcare Amphitheater. Shine down at Mohegan and the SNHU Arena in Manchester, New Hampshire. Labyrinth, the live orchestra with the movie, is at the Wilbur in September. Rush at Mohegan. Leader Bank Pavilion, more and more shows getting announced all the time. The outdoor shows, the calendars are filling up fast. Satch Vi, Triumph for a couple shows. Youngblood sold out in 8 minutes. Claypool's Gold, Yellow Card, Toto and Christopher Cross, The Fray and Dashboard Confessional, OAR, John Fogerty. Fenway Park is starting to confirm shows, including Mumford & Sons and Fish at the end of August, at the end of July and early August. Lacuna Coil, Des Rocks, Clutch and Corrosion of Conformity, 0936, Slaughter to Prevail, Magnolia Park, Black Veil Brides, Wage War, Kitty, all headed to the Palladium in Worcester. Roadrunner in Boston has got Echo and the Bunnymen, Killswitch Engage, Poppy, and Social D. The MGM Music Hall at Fenway's got Sabaton that rescheduled from March 12th to December 1st. If you have tickets for that show, it's rescheduled. Black Label Society, Bush, Lamb of God, Death Clock, and Amon Amarth, Bill Murray, Amel and the Sniffers, Jimmy Eat World, The House of Blues, stacked with shows. The Dropkicks are there tonight, live streaming on Veeps for St. Patrick's Day. The Hives, Guar coming up, Alter Bridge, Filter and Tim Montana, the Toadies and Local H, David Lee Roth, Wolf Mother, Tomahawk, Dog Star with Keanu Reeves, and The Pretty Reckless. That goes on sale on Friday. Let's see. Mr. Voorhees says free. That is kind of my ticket price. It's my favorite ticket price, by the way. Emma says I spent $32 to see Theory of a Dead Man. Yeah, that's a good price for tickets. If you can find tickets in their 30s, more than likely you're going to find tickets around, say, $50, which is kind of, I guess, the average now, but it all depends on the venue. Circle Jerks are at the Paradise Rock Club on April 9th and the 10th. City Winery Boston has got the Nelson Brothers Acoustic and a spoken word night with Stuart Copeland from The Police, who is going to be telling what I can only imagine is insane stories. Still waiting for some shows at the stage at Suffolk Downs to get announced, but we know those are coming. New music coming on Friday. Aerosmith, the Legendary Edition, is coming out on Friday. Band of Horses releasing the 20th anniversary of Everything All the Time. The Dandy Warhols, Pinups, Exodus, Goliath, Poison the Well, Peace in Place, and St. Vincent Live in London are all coming out on Friday. Mail call this week. Yeah, all of a sudden the girls are wide awake. So a little note in there says, stuff from my Anchorage trip for work back in February. Had to get the Bigfoot sticker and keychain. Well, because of Bigfoot First Productions. Thank you. Hope all is well, Melissa. P.S. We moved home March 7th. Pics to come. Melissa, welcome home. For anybody that's new to the War Room, Melissa's house caught fire because of Halloween decorations more than a year ago, and she is finally home. So, Melissa, that's amazing. All right, some of the goodies that she put in there include the Sasquatch sticker from Alaska, the Harley Davidson in Anchorage, Alaska sticker, the Harley Davidson sticker. All of these stickers that you guys send me, by the way, I put on the console in MCHQ, like the actual desk that looks like tipped over road cases. That's where I put all the stickers you guys send me. So like it's starting to get insane covered with stickers. The Sasquatch keychain, which I absolutely love. And also, if you guys have ever gone to a Harley Davidson dealerships, they always have custom poker chips, which I have looked into making Mistress Carrie poker chips, and it is definitely something that I want to do. Purple, of course, like this one. Absolutely badass. And then she sent me this shirt as well, with the skeleton hand from the Harley Davidson dealership in Anchorage, Alaska, which is amazing. So thank you so much. Alaska is the last state on my husband's list of states in the United States that he has not been to yet. He's got one left. Alaska is a place I have not been yet. I have, I think, 12 states that I need to go to. He's got one left. So we both, I dropped the poker chip. We both are trying to get to Alaska together so we can check that off of his to-do list, but we have not been able to make it there since. So that's the address for mail call, Melissa. I am so happy that you are home. Please send pictures and let us know, like, how it is to be home, because you have not been home for quite a while. A reminder about the online Mistress Carrie store. The new stickers are part of the sticker pack. The jack racks, the plugins jack racks, the Mistress Carrie keychains, and the keychain mountable wall unit that looks like a guitar amp. And of course, the reflective beanies if you're going to be out and about, especially with the daylight lasting later and later. If you're going to be out walking or running, A lot of my neighbors have been going out to enjoy the sunny, warm weather, and we've been out walking together. And sometimes we get caught a little far from home when it starts to get dark. So those beanies are great for that. If you do not have a Mistress Carrie Backstage Pass yet, you can get one on patreon.com. Backstage Pass holders, I messaged you guys about doing a live stream this Sunday night. Let's do it at 7:30. I got lots to tell you guys and a bunch more tickets that are up for grabs. If you have a Backstage Pass, you get access to ticket giveaways. Right now, you've got access to Lamb of God tickets. You've got access to Death Clock and Amon Amarth tickets and Five Finger Death Punch tickets. You also can find out who's going to be on the podcast, so you can submit questions. You get travel blog updates, early access to event information, merch discount codes. So if you don't have a Backstage Pass, go to mistresscarrie.com or just go to patreon.com/Mistress Carrie. A reminder about all the places you can find me on social media and all of the radio stations where you can hear me every weekday and all the radio station apps that you can download so that you can listen to the show no matter where you are. You can stream those stations. And a reminder about the Mistress Carrie Veterans Rock page on Facebook. We are now over 5,300 members. It is a great place to share information on resources, veterans, nonprofits, veteran-owned businesses. If you're looking to hire veterans, if you're looking for volunteer opportunities, or if you're just looking for veterans initiatives, if you're looking to support veterans, if you're a veteran looking to network or support, if you're trying to reconnect with people you may have served with overseas, this is the place to do it. So go to facebook.com. It's the Mistress Carrie Veterans Rock Group. And don't forget Military Appreciation Night at the DCU Center with the Worcester Railers this Friday night at 7:05. I am going to be there helping to host it. And there are free tickets available thanks to Pepsi of Worcester, who are underwriting all of those tickets so that military members and veterans can go and enjoy the game. And I got the details on this game up on the concert and events calendar at mistresscarrie.com. The sticker packs are in the online store. Kevin says, welcome home, Melissa. Lou, it's a live band. Bruins tied at 2 going into overtime. Andrew says, is this OnlyFans asking for a friend? It's not OnlyFans. It's just a place where you get more Mistress Carrie than you get on the podcast or the War Room if it's something that you want. You find out more of what's going on in the world of Mistress Carrie. We do live streams every month. You get access to a lot of great tickets. So no, it is not OnlyFans. It's just the Backstage Pass. So there you go. All right, guys, there you go. Episode 343 of Cocktails in the War Room. Done. Episode 302 of the Mistress Carrie podcast out tomorrow with Taylor Momsen from The Pretty Reckless. Wednesday, are you ready to be done with the show? Do you want to go outside and have a snack after? That's a yes. Betty says, hey, MC, I'm hoping... one, I will relocate the items that I got for you somewhere. Only had them since 2020. What the hell? In my hands. And then where the next? Betty, it's all good. Ash says, welcome home, Melissa. That is so awesome. Hate that it happened, but enjoy your, quote, new home. Kim says, good night, everybody. That hour went by quick, says Jonathan. It always does. All right. Do you want to say, Friday, do you want to say goodnight to everyone? Wednesday, do you want to come over here? Say goodnight to everyone? Come here. Do you want your bone back? Say goodnight to everyone. Say goodnight. It's time for us to snuggle. I'm getting sleepy. Because I'm a pug and I have to sleep 22 hours a day. All right, guys. I will see you guys next week. New episode of the podcast out at midnight. And I will see you at the DCU Center for Military Appreciation Night with the Railers coming up on Friday night. Say goodnight, Friday.